Hello, gorgeous.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
Good. I love your background. It's super
Thank
cute.
you. Everyone seems to like this background. I don't know how I managed to fall into this by accident, but it's fun.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And your hair. You always bomb. We're gonna get into that. So Cynthia, thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you. But if you don't mind, can we take a moment of silence for our brother George
Yeah.
Floyd, who was arrested, handcuffed, and pinned down by a knee of an officer in Minnesota on Monday, and he ultimately died. So I
Okay.
just I feel like it wouldn't be right if we didn't just honor that brother and take a moment of silence, if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. Rest in power to George Floyd. Praying
Yeah.
for his family, praying for us all as a
Yeah.
country, as a people, that we can at
Yeah.
some point just get have it stop, right? You know?
That you know what? That is it. Like there's no other way to put it. Like it just needs to stop
Yeah. It
because
has to.
it's painful and exhausting, and you there's a point where you start to feel really helpless. You want to do as much as you can, but like it takes it takes these actions to just stop. It just needs to stop.
It,
That's what, you know. Uh,
right.
that's it.
It, it just has to stop. Well, Cynthia,
Yes,
thank
love.
you so much for hopping on today.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for getting on, you and Lena. I saw you guys in the comments on Monday. Thanks
Yeah,
for dropping those gems.
love him though. He's so great. Like he's
Scott is so
got
amazing. I love
the best.
him. His
Yeah,
energy is so bomb.
yeah.
How are you quarantining?
I am busy in quarantine.
Yes.
You're in my office right now, and there is a microphone to do my songs. Right in front,
Mm-hmm.
there's a ring light where I do my videos. Here you see this background where I'm taking all my Zoom meetings and all
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, I'm like keeping busy and active. I am writing. I literally just got off. I think I had 3 different phone calls today about different projects. I'm just trying to make sure that I stay creative and I get stuff done. And I took a break from working out. But now I'm sort of back on it and raring to go. And I started maybe at the beginning of this week. So I'm just getting on with it and figuring out how to move forward and figuring out what a clever way for me to continue creating and making things is for me that makes me feel full, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as always, I like to go back to the beginning because I like to I want people to get an overview and understand how we got to where we are today. And so
Yeah.
I have tons of questions. So I hope you don't mind today.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
Okay, so you were born and grew up in London
Yeah.
with your mom, single mother,
Yeah.
raising two.
Yeah.
Your mom, strong, smart, hardworking go-getter, she knew early on
Yeah.
that you would be the star that you are today, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
would sing at the age of 5 and that you would then join drama club at the age of 11.
Yeah.
Cynthia, talk to us a little bit about your childhood and how did mom know early
Yeah.
on that you would be this?
She's my mom's kind of awesome. She has this baby book, and I love this story because it's so her forethought, the way she thought about me, like when I couldn't even say words, is really special. She has this baby book that she write in, and then at the back it asks, "What do you think your child will be when she's older, or when she or he is older?"
Mm-hmm.
And when I want to say 12 months, 14 months or something like that, she writes down she thinks she's going to be a singer and an actress because she hums when she eats. So when I ate, I would like hum and make noises and all of that. So she was like, oh, she sounds could be a singer. And then when I was like 2, she writes down she thinks I'm going to be an actress and a doctor. But at that point I was starting to like mimic her. So she would come in her nurse's uniform, and I would want a nurse uniform as well, and I would want the pen, and I would want the stethoscope, and I want the paper to write down nonsense for me, but it was like prescriptions. What I saw her write, I'm copying, but I think that it was one and the same. It was me sort of learning how to play and be different people and different characters, but she just sort of knew, and from that early age she just would encourage the singing. She would never tell me to not sing, and she would never, she would always want me to watch cool films. And like, whenever I had a new idea and I wanted to join an acting club or an after school club that let me sing some songs, she would just let me do it. Because I think she just sort of believed that we all have the right to do and be the thing that we want to be. She fought to be who she was and what she did, and she just let me do the same, really. Yeah.
Do you think that that encouragement and push from your mom helped you though? Because a lot of times people in the arts, the family's like, no, like your mom thought you would be a doctor, but you went the complete other way. A lot of times the family, they don't support the dream because they're like, that's not realistic. So do you think that your mom supporting you early on helped you?
Oh, absolutely. My mom, I think my mom is my biggest fan. She's been to almost every one of my performances. She's seen all of the films. She came to drama school when I was there to see the performances. Like, she's always there, and she was always supportive, and she was always proud. And she was always reminding me to make sure that I practiced and I worked hard. As far as she was concerned, as long as I worked hard, I could get what I wanted, and I could do what I wanted. And she was just there to support that, really. Yeah. And honestly, I don't know that I would be the same person if it wasn't for her. Yeah.
And then you're trained. So you started out though at the University of East London.
Yeah.
But you weren't too fulfilled. What was it about going to that university that you said, okay, this isn't quite it for me?
It just didn't feel right. I could go to the lectures, the seminars, and write, but then I would be bored and I wouldn't want to. I just didn't want to go to them. But if I didn't go and I wrote the papers and I wrote the essays, I would still get the marks. I would still pass. Right. So it meant that I was doing something that wasn't actually teaching me the thing I needed to know. It wasn't teaching me anything that I already didn't know, as far as I was concerned. And I knew that it wasn't as fulfilling as I wanted it to be. And so when I figured that out, it's a difficult decision to say, you know what, this isn't working. I'm going to leave university. And I didn't tell my mom when I left. I went and did like a youth acting company, and I got in. And then when I was there, I started auditioning for a drama school, and I had decided that I would tell my mom what was going on if I got into the drama school. And when I got in, that's when I told her that I had left university, but I was going to drama school. And she was like, what, how did it, and do you know what is amazing about this woman? What's amazing about this woman is that she was not worried about the fact that I had left university to go to drama school. She was worried about the fact that she couldn't help me whilst I was getting ready to go to drama school. Wow. I remember it was heartbreaking. She was like, I feel bad because I couldn't help you. I feel bad because I did everything, but I wanted to work through and do everything on my own. Like, I got some advice, but I set up my student loan for it. I filled in all the forms. I got all of that sorted, and didn't come to her until like way afterwards.
Right.
And she was just like, she felt bad because she couldn't be an active help in that. And I had to just remind her that she'd been helping me in my entire life, and this is something I wanted to do and needed to do on my own, because it was the only way I could learn. I needed to do it for myself, to learn independence, to learn about how to get the thing I want with determination. If I was always looking to her to help me, I wouldn't learn how to navigate through to do something like that. And it gave me the most confidence to be able to figure all of that out, work out how to make it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Did you feel that your mom would be disappointed? Was that a little bit of it, that why you didn't mention it to her?
Yes and no, because I know that my mom had worked really hard to make sure that we had whatever we needed. And she'd worked really hard for us to be in that place and going to university. She's got these, this young woman who is now at university. It's like the perfect thing. She's gotten through secondary school and through high school, and she's now at university, and she's like on the straight now, and she's doing really well. And I didn't want, there is a part of me that's like, I don't want to let her down. I don't want her to be disappointed in me. And I'm like, oh, I hope that she's still proud of me for doing the thing that I wanted and doing the thing that I knew I needed to, because I really do believe that's my calling, and I I needed to make that decision on my own. It was tough because I just didn't know how she would react, and to get that reaction was like,
Okay. Whew, a load off.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So what did the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts teach you that you now continue to use to this day in your acting and your singing?
That my vulnerability is my strong suit. That me being vulnerable and being open is the thing that allows me the access to the characters I play, to the people that I get to connect with, to the songs that I get to sing. And when I'm vulnerable, I guess I open a door to who I am, and to my heart, and to my soul. That's the way you get to see these characters sort of come alive. That's that's what I learned from RADA, and I was lucky enough to have a really amazing drama teacher. Her name is Cannon, and she made me see that that was what I needed to do, because we as Black women often get the strong Black woman trope, and that's sort of like what you're supposed to be. And when you go into drama school, sometimes that's what they assume that you are, and really some of us are just, we're vulnerable and we're delicate and we're light and fairy, and we can be all of those things. We can be strong, we can be tough, we can be, and then we can be putty, we can all of those things. And I think that she just made me see that being vulnerable didn't mean that I had to sacrifice my strength. Like, being vulnerable was part of my strength. And that's really like been a gateway and a key to becoming who I am today, and to being able to play these different characters. Yeah.
Cynthia, do you think that being properly educated and trained as an actor is important to the craft and how you guys deliver on screen?
I do think training helps. I do think that there is, there is raw talent, and it does exist, and some people haven't trained, and that is right for them. But for me, I really do think it's an individual thing. There are people who don't need training, and their rawness and their unfinishedness when it comes to the craft is part of the charm of them, part of the what makes them work. But for someone like me, I needed to be trained. I needed to go to drama school, because for me it was like an insurance that wherever I went, because I was a singer, so I didn't want anyone to have any excuses as to why they couldn't employ me as an actor. And just them knowing that I had gone to RADA was like, okay, well, if she went to RADA, well, then she has training, so clearly she has the talent to be an actress. But and for me also, if I didn't go to RADA, I don't know that I would have learned about my vulnerability. And really and truly, that really is the key to how I play a lot of these characters. It's finding out what makes them tick, what they need, what they want, what breaks them, what makes them, all of those things. And I didn't fully understand that until I went to drama school. And so I do think for many of us, drama school doesn't necessarily finish us. It does crack open the thing that we haven't been able to use before. You know what I mean? That, yeah.
Yes. You were, let's change channels a little bit and go to the music. You were set to perform at the Hollywood Bowl, but due to COVID, it was canceled. Has there been a new date? Have they released a new date yet?
They've canceled all dates this year, but I think we're moving it to next year. So we're having like a conversation about what date might work next year. And I'm really glad that they didn't just cancel it totally. I think it was necessary for us to just like wipe the slate clean when it came to Hollywood Bowl. Too many people into one place.
Right.
It will come back next year. So it's not totally gone. It's just moved.
Okay. That's good news. But you're still continuing to use your voice at home and this nice backdrop. Yeah. So you just recently on Monday lended your voice to the National Memorial Day concert on PBS. Talk to us a little bit about why it's so important for you to still, even though we're in quarantine and even though we're on lockdown, to still use your voice to uplift our first responders.
For me, I guess I understand thoroughly that these people are putting their lives on the line, and their time and their effort and their energy into saving people. And if me singing lifts people up, if that one small act from me can say thank you, can enrich, can fill up, then that's what I'm going to do. I honestly believe that more than performing and entertaining, that's what my voice is for. That's what my singing is for. It's to mark a moment. It's to lift people. It's to create a space for people to go if they can't release their feelings. The amount of times I've sung something and someone's gone, oh, I needed a cry today, and I've watched this, and that's given me the space to do that. That's why I do what I do. Yeah.
I mean, in your voice, you sung Hero and
Bridge
Bridge Over Troubled Waters. I was like, okay, now look, you in the house and you blowing us away like that. I was like, yes, we needed that. We needed that. You're also lended your voice to National Geographic's Genius, Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. You've already gotten the praise from the niece, Sabrina Owens, and just the backing from all of the people involved. Were you at all nervous about this role, or did you feel like, I got this?
You know, there's two parts. There's part of me that's like, Cynthia, get it together. You've got stuff to do. Make sure you do this well. And there's the other part that's like, oh my God, how am I going to approach this? How do I do this? And then there's the middle section that just goes, watch everything you could possibly watch on this woman. Listen to everything that you could possibly listen to the songs that you listen to a million times, again and again and again, just to hear it, just to take it on. But more than that, it was just a huge honor, to be honest. I loved Aretha Franklin, still love her, and she was one of the artists that taught me how to tell a story through song. She has this wonderful gift of being able to give you her heart when she sings, and I'm like, that's what I want to do, you know.
And you met her while you were doing Color Purple.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and she was cool. She sang the last line of the song, "I'm Here," at me when I was walking towards her, which is awesome. And I met her again when I was doing the Kennedy Center Honors the first time, and that was cool. She was wearing red. I remember that. She was really, really cool. And then I saw a video of her singing along to the song I sang. Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, she was just into it. She had the rock going. I said, yes.
I
was like, yes. But isn't this a full circle moment, though, right? Can we just talk about you meet like someone that you've admired all your life, right, in your singing career, and then you get the news that you're going to be playing her? How do you get the call? How did that whole thing work with you getting this role?
I know I was still. I think I had just finished doing Harriet. We'd done the press, and my agent was like, we think they might be coming to you for this Aretha Franklin Genius. They've never done a woman before. They've never done a woman of color before. They've never done a black woman before. They've never done a singer before. And the first woman that they want to do is Aretha Franklin, and they think you might be right for it. Clive had seen me sing Ain't No Way on the red carpet for the Tonys, and
that voice, girl.
Go to National Geographic and Imagine, who are the production companies doing it, and they sort of, that was what happened. That's what did he. So please know that if you have an opportunity to do something, you're like, I don't know, just try. I had no idea that me singing on the red carpet like that. I think I maybe did like a verse and a chorus, just because someone asked me what my favorite song was, and they asked me to sing it, and I did that bit, and that's why I could talk about being Aretha today. Yeah.
Wow. That's a gem.
Yeah. Someone said perfect timing on the carpet. I was like, absolutely, it was crazy. Wow. And when it got back that someone had, I don't know, because I think it was for Variety, and he asked me what song I loved, and that was the song I chose, just because it genuinely is my favorite song. I had no idea that was even happening, didn't know the series was going on, didn't know they were planning to do the series. I just love that song. So it's the song whenever anyone asks me what my favorite song is, it's that song, Ain't No Way. And he asked me to sing it, and it was just like a natural progression of actions that led to this. It was crazy.
Wow. That story is now etched in my heart, because you just never know where your opportunities are going to come from.
Never know. You never know.
Wow.
You never know.
So then the Color Purple, but not then, because Aretha Franklin, the Color Purple was before, but you guys work with me here. The Color Purple. So this is where you win your Emmy, your Grammy, and your Tony.
Yeah.
Have you even heard or watched this movie growing up in London? Did you know about The Color Purple?
Oh yeah,
Okay. And then,
one of my favorite movies. And
wow.
I've watched it plenty of times. And then I heard that it was coming to London to a very small theater called the Many a Chocolate Factory. And I was like, I need to do it. I don't know why. Every time I talk about it, I still to this day have no clue why I knew that I was supposed to be doing this particular musical. I just knew it in my heart of hearts, in my gut, in my soul. I knew that I was supposed to be doing this particular musical. And I was like, I have to do it. I want to play Celie. I know this is a musical. I don't know what we have to do to get into it. I don't know what we have to do to be seen, to audition, but I need to get into it. And a friend of mine, Jason Pennycook, then told the artistic director that he should see me. They brought me in, and I think they gave me 2 days to learn 2 songs and 4 sides. And 4 sides are scenes. So 4 scenes and 2 songs I had to learn 2 nights before I got in. And I remember feeling with such determination that there was not a chance in hell that I was not going to know all of this material like the back of my hands. I was not going to give them any excuse to not hire me. So I learned everything like my name, right?
Wow.
Into that audition and just did as much as I possibly could. And it was then that I guess they just they had an assumption of who I was, and then they met me and they were like, okay, we were wrong.
Right.
And then I got a call a few months later that I was doing this play in a small theater, 200-seater, wasn't making very much, but I was happy as anything. And then it turned into this. We end up doing Broadway, and it just changed my entire life. Like, I didn't know any of that was going to happen. I had no idea. I just knew that this show in this 200-seater theater was where I was supposed to be. And this is what's happened.
And you talk about how it changed your life. Did you, when you were in the 200-seat, did you envision what it would become, or had you had an idea, or were you just happy that you were in this theater with these 200 people and that was fine for me?
I was just happy to be in that show, in that theater at that time with those 200 people, because I had never experienced the way I had felt in that space before in another theater. I'd never seen English people behave like that in a show. I'd just never seen it. And I was happy. I was happy there. So when the opportunity came to come to Broadway, that was like, I thought they were joking. So it happened on I think it was first preview. One of the producers came up to me and said, would you do this on Broadway? I said, well, if you'll have me. I had no idea. I was like, that's very nice of you to say.
Right, of course.
Yeah. If it happens, that's nice.
Yeah.
I got called into the office maybe a month later to say that they were planning on taking it to Broadway, and that my director, John Doyle, wouldn't do it without me. So then it happened. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is just, every time I look back on it, it's like, why did I get the message to continue to do this play? Why did I know to do this particular show? What kept bugging me to say, you should do this show, you should do this show? Like, it's nuts. I mean,
and your career from that, you just went, here we are. And here we are. We're graced with your presence, right? So, I mean, that's a beautiful story. I always like to know, like, do you know that it will become what it becomes? You know what I mean? Like, do you have an inkling? Do you have something in your gut that says, okay, this could be something? And then...
Not at all. I just knew that this was where I was supposed to go. That's it. You know, when you're like, someone said, because God said go, and you went. And
yes, I saw that.
That is what the feeling was like. You should, you know, it's like that feeling that you get in like your chest, and
yes.
it feels like a little itchy feeling. You're like, I don't know why, but I just know that I'm supposed to be doing this thing. I know it in my heart of hearts. I know why I'm supposed to be doing this thing. That's what it was for me. That's what it was. I had no idea it would be anything other than what it was. And then it just like took off.
You've been so blessed, I feel like, to play these complex women,
Mm-hmm.
right, in these roles.
Mm-hmm.
Celie, Harriet, Aretha. You get the call 2 years ago, right? Because didn't it
Yeah.
take 2.5 years for Harriet to be made?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talk to us, walk us through this process, because we see you deliver such an epic, beautiful performance. We're all, and I have so many questions about this, so bear with me. We're all like, this is our moment. This is our Harriet story. Finally, we get to see it on the big screen because we hadn't.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the beginning and when you got the call, because I believe you were on Color Purple when you
Still on the Color
got the word
Purple.
about it.
Still on the
Speak
Color
to us about it, Cynthia. Tell us.
I was on the Color Purple, just minding my own business, doing this show, happy as anything could be. At that point, I want to say, I feel like I had won the Tony at that point, so I was flying in the show, and I was happy where I was. Then I get this call that Deborah Martin Chase, who was one of the producers, wanted to have tea with me. And I remember we went to the lounge at the Mandarin Oriental in New York, and I remember Deborah's super stylish, so there's this gorgeous woman sitting over here at a table next to a window, just stylish as anything. And I walk to the table and I sit, and I don't realize that they've already been to see the show. Seen the show, and I go and sit down, and she says, you know, we do the small talk and we talk about what I've been doing, and we make our, you know, acquaintances, and we do the introductions. And then she says, there's this role, I have the script. It's been sitting on the shelf for a while, but we've just got it back, and we think we're going to be able to make it. We have a producer, we have everything ready, but we need our main character, and we think you are the main character. And I was like, oh, okay, what is it about? What's the film? She says, well, story about Harriet Tubman. And I was like, what?
Wait, what?
What?
At that moment, what do you say?
You think
You
you
want
are?
me for Harriet Tubman?
I was like, are you talking about me? She's like, yeah, we watched you. We came to see you in the Color Purple. We saw how you moved. We saw the strength that you had on stage. We loved your voice. I was like, what? Okay. I mean, like, what do you even say at that point? Like, what do you say? I mean,
I would have been like, yes, Lord.
the thing, what people don't realize is that Harriet was the first movie I was cast in.
Right. What?
That it was not the first movie I filmed, but it was the first movie I was cast in. So you have to understand, I was a kid that came from a 200-seater.
Yes.
Was on the Broadway stage, and now someone is asking me to play Harriet Tubman. Like, that is
God. That's the Lord. Wow.
At that point, you just say, what do you need me to do? How can I help? And then and it's so strange, because it's like the time it took to make that film, I was given the time to go and do other pieces that allowed me to expand my vocabulary and my experience of what film was, so that when Harriet was ready, when the script was ready, when they were ready to go, I was really ready.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it, Belle in Widows, because that was the first film I filmed. So I'm in the presence of Viola Davis, Steve McQueen.
Yes.
Like, I'm watching these people do their job. This is my first role on screen, and these are the people I get to be around. Okay. And so, and within that, I need to be as fit as I possibly can. I need to be as fast as I possibly can. I need to be able to be like, my presence needs to pop on the screen. My presence needs to be strong, because it's a quick, short role, but has lots of like body to it. So I learned that, and then I moved to Bad Times at the Royale, which is in the 60s, and now it's all about vulnerability and being flighty and trying to find out how to figure things out. And so there's that, and now I'm picking up these new things, and I'm in front of Jeff Bridges, and I'm working with incredible scenery, and it's like props and all of that, and I'm doing all my own stunts, and the whole thing. So I'm learning my process as I'm doing all of the things. I filmed 2 more things before Harriet. So by the time I had done Harriet, I'd filmed 4 different films. Harriet was my 5th film.
And you were the lead. So you carried this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to us, Cynthia, about the physicality of this role. So you're already small. You're 5 feet, right? I believe.
5'1", yeah.
I'm 4'11", so I know the short girls, right? But you're small and you're already a runner, so
yeah.
you're physically fit. But how do you train your body and your mind and your soul?
Yeah.
For this role?
You do all the things. You do I prayed every day, every morning. Before bed, when I woke up, I'd get on the bike. For me, physicality and working out and all of those things allow me a space to go to meditate. So I use it as meditation. I was on my bike every day. I had a Peloton in the apartment. I got them to get me some training because I knew that the hours would be crazy. We were doing a lot of night shooting, and night shooting could start from anywhere at like 5 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the morning. You can have 12-hour days, you can have 18-hour days. It depends on what you've got to do. And so I just knew that the schedule would never be regular. So I decided that I wanted something in my space that I could walk from that bedroom to this space and get on and train.
Right.
You know, that's what I needed to do, because I needed my body to I needed the physicality of this woman to be second nature. So I wasn't thinking about it whilst I was like dealing with the emotion of it and the speech and the words. And so when I'm climbing up on something, I can still speak. And when I'm running, I can still speak. And when I stop running, I can speak. Like, all of these things were necessary for me to be able to be ready. And it took everything from me, really. It took everything.
And you did your own stunts.
Yes.
Why was that important for you to put your body through that?
Because it connected me to her. You know, I felt like if I could feel just an iota of what she went through, I would have another connection to who she was and what she was going through. It didn't make sense for me to leave the part where it could be difficult up to someone else. And yes, they had standby just in case I couldn't, and she would maybe do the stunt, but I would also do the stunt, and they would just pick which worked. But I would always do my stunts, and everything you saw on screen, that's me running up and down wherever, climbing up the side of a cliff, getting on top of that bridge, and I do the jump, but they replace the bottom in the water. So it's like I'm doing everything I could possibly do in order to make sure that the connection is deep enough for me to keep telling the story. And, you know, there was a night where we were filming her walking across the water. I think the water was, I want to say 27 degrees or something like that. Yeah. 37 or 27. Either way, freezing cold in the middle of, I think it was like 1 a.m. in the morning or something. And it was pitch black. And it was freezing. And I just knew I had to do it. I remember I was listening to gospel music, like just to zone out, because there was no way I could do it with noise around me. I needed to like center. And even though that was freezing cold, I just thought to myself, this would have been far more difficult for her. Right. And so I will be fine. Because at the other end, there's going to be someone in a boat to pick me out of this water once I'm far enough.
Right.
But there was no one there for her. So I will be fine.
Did you feel her spirit at all with you throughout the process?
Yeah. 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 I mean, like, there's something, and we tell the story, Casey and I both tell the story, because it was just really unbelievable. There's this moment in the film where I guess Minty crosses over and becomes Harriet. And she's in this field, and that whole entire day was miserable. Like, the clouds were gray, it was raining, it was dark. It just was not like what we needed it to be. We had a million things to do before. I think I had shot I think nigh on 5 or 6 different scenes before this part, and then a message comes down and they need me to come up to the hill because they want to shoot this, and it's the last day we can get it done at this point, and the sun's going down. It's just like all the things that could possibly go wrong were going wrong.
Right.
And so I get up to the top and I try and get ready as fast as I can, and I get ready really fast. I think it took me like 5-10 minutes to put on a completely different costume. I get to the top of the hill, and then we start the scene. We're riding up in this horse and carriage, and as I come up, there's a rainbow on my right.
Wow.
Like a double rainbow on my right. It was a double rainbow. And in front, it looks like the sun's coming up, which doesn't make sense because it's like 5 in the evening.
Right.
It was nuts.
Right.
And then I get out and I do the jump, and what you see is what actually happened. Clouds part, sun comes out, it's bright as anything, and we're all like in disbelief because that's not what we were dealing with
right
2 seconds ago.
Right.
Now all of a sudden we have the sun is coming out, the clouds have parted, there's a double rainbow over here. It's like
it's spirit.
Yeah.
And
for us, like, it was one of those moments where it was like, okay, so she's paying attention.
Yes. She approves.
Yeah.
She approves.
Yeah. It was that moment that we knew we weren't on our own, and we weren't like doing it on our own. Yeah. It was
why do you think this film took so long, this story, to be told on the big screen? I mean, the way it was told. Because
it's the story of a Black woman in period America, and she's the center of it, and it's action, and it's all the things that most people don't believe that Black women can be or are. And so I think it was just difficult at a time to make it, because I don't think people were used to seeing it or ready to see it. To have a woman do all those things in action, be vulnerable, have heartbreak, show love, be loved, and be in the middle of her own story and be the conduit for all of these incredible things.
Right.
They weren't ready for it. Right. But we were ready when it came. And I'm glad they did it.
Well, the performance that you delivered scored you 2 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit, one for the song and one for your
sounds weird
as Harriet. I want to talk about this, Cynthia, because I don't know if you've spoken about it, because like right after the award season, we're with COVID. So yeah, I want to talk to you a little bit about this night, right?
Yeah.
So you get, you're at the Oscars. I'm just going a little fast here, but you're at the Oscars. Everybody prior to the Oscars in every interview shoot you in. You were set to be the youngest EGOT. You were going to get the award. What do you, first of all, let me go back. What are you feeling when you're hearing that in these interviews? Are you like saying, please don't say that, in your mind, or are you welcoming the manifestation of it all? What are you feeling?
I think that when people put good things in the universe for you, you welcome it. I knew that it might not happen when they say it's happening, but the idea that people think of me in that way just felt like a nice thing. Nobody has to wish that kind of thing for you, and when someone does, it's really good energy for someone to put out about you and for you. And so as far as I was concerned, I was like, well, I welcome it, and thank you for saying that, but I'm also open to whatever may happen. The fact that I'm here with 2 nominations is crazy.
Performed.
Yeah. Now that was the dream, and here's the thing that people don't realize, that was the most important thing to me, because the year before, I remember saying, I really want to perform on the Oscar stage. I really want to perform on the Oscar stage. It's a dream of mine. I hope one day I get to do that. I did not know that I would perform a song that I had co-written and was nominated for on the stage. So I got more than I asked for.
That's a blessing.
That's a huge blessing. And it also taught me, again, to make sure that I like, if I want to dream bigger than I want to be, and I knew that, but for some reason I was like, I can't ask for too much. All I want to do is perform on the Oscar stage. Maybe, hopefully, someone will let me sing their song. But it felt like God went, oh, that's really sweet. That's cute. That's so cute.
Right.
She wants to sing on the Oscar stage. That's nice.
But it was cute, and then he delivered it.
Okay, something else. Something else. Okay.
He said, okay, it's cute,
okay.
But
it's cute.
Here you go. Here you go.
I would
go out there. It's time for you to go out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I want to know that night, because people are in the comments saying, as I thought when I watched, and so many people thought that you were going to win, right? We knew that you were going to win because you delivered this amazing performance. We knew that you would either win for the song or you would win for Harriet. So you don't get the award. How do you feel the next day, after everything is said and done? Are you feeling like, oh, I'm glad that's over? Okay, that was a bump night. How do you feel?
I felt great, because it was such a long journey to even be there. And the fact is, like, I have time. There's so much time to get back to that place. There's so much time to do more. And if it didn't happen then, it will happen another time. Like, I don't think anything is by accident, like there was a reason. What was wonderful about that night is when I sang that song, the entire room was on its feet. You know what I mean? Like,
and
that,
people in their living rooms,
right?
Were on our feet too.
And that felt, for me, that was a moment that I felt like I had won, because, to be able to, that doesn't happen. At the Oscars, people don't stand up for someone singing anything. It just never happens. And then it happened for me. I felt great the day after. I felt great because I felt like I had done the thing that I really wanted. Performed on the stage with a song that I was nominated for, and it did the job that it was supposed to do. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, no one's going to take away the 2 nominations. I'm always now
nominated.
If I'm
nominated
again, right. I'm always going to be an Academy nominee. And that means something, it does. And I'm really, like, proud of that. And if it happens again, then wonderful. And I'm 33 years old. I have years ahead of me to create and to have that happen again. And I'm sure that there will be many films that I am in love with, and hopefully people garner just as a worthy as Harriet was. And if it happens, great. Like, we'll see that.
You deserve it. You still should have won. I just have to say that. You still should have won. But do you feel, though, you were the only Black actress nominated?
Yeah.
The lack of representation. The BAFTAs had no Black actor.
And you know how I felt about that.
And you declined to perform because of that.
Yeah.
Cynthia, why are we still dealing with lack of representation in 2020?
Because I think at the top, there aren't enough of us helping to make those decisions, honestly. And I think that has to change. I think, I had a conversation yesterday with the American Theatre Wing, and Heather Hitchens, who runs it, who is wonderful, was asking about, because their theatre has made strides to move forward in diversity and making sure that, like, representation actually is a real grounded movement. And she asked, like, how can we keep that going? How can we make sure that doesn't go backwards now that this has hit and people have to, like, figure out how to make money? And I said, well, the best way to do that is to make sure that the people that are having conversations don't all look the same and aren't all the same. Like, people have to make a point of bringing people in that are from different walks of life and different experiences, to say, hey, we did that already, and there's no people of color in that, there are no LGBTQIA people in that, there are no people that represent me, there are no people that represent this person over here, and this is a story that we've told a million times, so can we please do something different? Because it's only when someone that looks like me and looks like you that gets in the room at the top and says, no, that doesn't work,
right,
that it will change. You know what I mean? That's why. That's how.
Do awards still matter? I know you said that you didn't win the Oscar this year, but you still have time.
Yeah.
but the work that you put out will forever be etched in history. So we always get to go back and look at the work and the body of work that you put. Does it matter to get an award for your work, or do they still matter? Do these shows still matter?
I think the work has to and will always matter more than an award.
Yes.
But I do think that I can't deny that being celebrated for something that I've done, it does, to be nominated for something feels good. It just does. It means something. It means something when the NAACP Awards nominates me and I get to go and I get to sit with all the people that I look at and have watched for years and years, and I get to be nominated with them. Like, that means something to me. So it does mean something when, and for me to be able to, I don't know if you've seen Hollywood. There's the final episode. She's sitting in the front row. And Queen Latifah, as Hattie McDaniel says, that it's not necessarily the winning, it's where you sit. You sitting in the front row and being in the room. Right. And that night of the Oscars, I was on the front row with my mother.
In the room.
A dark chocolate black girl in the front row with her mother in her traditional clothing in the room, nominated. Like that, it's not even the winning that matters. It's the being in the room, to show that we deserve to be there and can, and that when it's only one of us, it points out that there should be more of us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. That's good. Cynthia, you received a lot of backlash about you being a British actress performing Harriet. You spoke about it in the New York Times, and you said that I don't think it's different to be a Black girl from England than it is to be a Black girl from America. Talk to us a little bit about that statement, because me personally, I feel like when we both enter a room, they don't hear your voice. They just see you. They just see your face and your skin color. So, but talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm like, I come from a place that still finds it difficult to accept women of color and still thinks of us as only useful in performance when we're sassy. That's the word they use, sassy, and have attitude, and that's all they see of us, and they find it very difficult to put us in these pieces, and they find it very difficult to include us in pieces about the world. I can't tell you how many costume dramas I've watched that have zero people of color whatsoever in them at all, and you just never get to see. My first examples of people who were in performance and actors that I loved were American actresses.
Wow. It
was the Viola Davises and the Kerry Washingtons, because I'd never seen those programs before, and the women who were brilliant had to come over to America and before they were seen to be as worthy enough to carry a piece. Marianne Jean-Baptiste is an amazing English actor, and her series is here. You see what I'm saying? Like, I was one of 4 in a drama school.
Right.
One of 4 Black people in a drama school, 3 Black girls, 1 Black boy. That's my experience of the world. And when I lived in East London, so all of the Premier Theatre, you get the National, you get the Almeida, and most of those theatres only show plays with white people in them. Full white casts, no one else. Then you go to Stratford Theatre Royal, and that's where all of the Black people are, in one theatre. And that's not enough to tell the stories that we have. It's just not, And so that was the experience that I have. And so when I come here and I, get into a room and I'm not quite light enough, I'm not quite right, and she's
right,
it's the same. I still have to work just as hard. I still have to, the things that hurt you. Yesterday, when we saw that image and that video of George pinned down like that, the core, that reverberates around wherever you are as a Black woman. It just hurts,
Right. I just felt that it was wasted energy, right? When we
but
towards something of being in the rooms to speak out about the lack of, you know, representation, or speaking out about the constant black and brown brothers being killed by police. I feel like that energy could have been channeled differently. Yeah.
But you know what it did? It did open up the conversation about the differences and the experiences that we have across the pond, and whether I think it creates an opportunity to talk about how we have been treated and how we feel and what our experiences are, and actually to find the likenesses that we have between each other. Like, it starts in one place but can actually be really helpful and be constructive when we talk together about the things that we have been through. Like, there are conversations that I had with people that I was able to make others understand where I had come from and what I had experienced, so that there was the knowledge that you and I are not that far apart.
Correct.
You know, just that's what I found. It was easier for me to see it as an opportunity to have a conversation about where we'd actually all come from and how we'd actually all been affected by this, the way we as Black people have been treated across the board.
I love that perspective, Cynthia. Talk to us about, what are some other stories that you want? You're not tired, are you?
Me?
I'm like, am I talking too long?
No.
Talk to us a little bit about what are some other stories that you want to tell. Since you've done the Aretha Franklin story, the Harriet Tubman story, what are some more stories that you want to tell?
I want to get into like some fantasy. I want to do some Marvel stuff. I want to do some superhero stuff. I'd love to do like what is it now? There's a film. What is Tom Cruise do? Is it Top? It's not Top Gun. It's
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossibles. I want to do like, I want to be able to do all of those kind of things.
Black Panther. I can
Black
see
Panther. Absolutely. That, like, I just didn't want to be obvious about it, but yes, Black Panther is definitely a place that I want to go. You know, I just want to tell stories about people that don't get to be heard very often. I want to tell stories about the women that we never get to meet. Like, who are they? Like, I've listened to a story about a woman who works at an airport as one of the security guards, and you don't hear about those women at all. Who knew? Like, we don't discuss those women, and they exist and they go through things, and I'm like, what is her story? How does she exist? Like, what is this life, you know, for her? And that's kind of like, I want to do that. I want to do some spy missions, some just whatever. I'm like into it all. I want to tell stories that we never get to see.
The Outsiders. Talk to us a little bit about Holly Gibney, PI. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that HBO series. If you guys haven't seen it, go and watch it on HBO.
Thank you for saying that. I'm very, very proud of that that particular project. I had just gotten back from Harriet. We finished shooting everything on the 5th. I was back in New York probably on the 6th, and on the 7th I had a photo shoot. And during the photo shoot I get this email from my manager and my agent, and it looks like they're having a conversation. It looks like they've had a conversation and missed me in the conversation. It's like they CC'd me in this last part of the conversation, forgot to CC me in everything else. This email says, Jason Bateman would love to have a conversation with you about this script, about a character called, and at the beginning she was called Lorraine. They changed her name back to Holly Gibney, and I was like, because at that point we'd already been looking at another series that I wasn't sure I wanted to do, and this one so when this came in, I thought they were still talking about this other series. I thought they had gotten the name wrong. I remember, like, is this about this series? They were like, no, it's about The Outsiders. I was like, what's The Outsiders? I don't know what that is. They were like, well, didn't we send you the script? I was like, no. And how am I having a conversation with Bateman this weekend about something I have no idea? What do you mean? Like, that is. So they sent this script over, and I read the script and I fall in love with this woman. And in the description of Holly Gibney, it literally says, will be described when she is cast.
Because in the book, is it true she wasn't Black, right?
No, she wasn't. Will be described when she's cast, has a brilliant mind, is, I think it's just like something like slightly awkward. And I was like, I love this because I've never seen this before. And I'm reading it and I'm thinking she may be on the spectrum here. And I adore the fact that they think I might be right to play this woman who may be on the spectrum and is brilliant minded and is different. There's no description of who she has to be. So I can actually like do that from the beginning. Like I can actually play a part in what she looks like. And so I'm like, okay, I'll have the conversation with him. And Jason and we speak on the weekend for, I want to say 45 minutes or something. And I was like, this is cool. And I was like, I love this. And I've never really seen anyone like her before. And he was like, if you're interested, it's like, think of it as like a 600-page movie, because everything is each episode is about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a little bit longer, but it could be really cool. And if you do it, like, we can have another conversation about it. And I put the phone down, and the conversation's gone really well. So much so that I can't tell whether I actually booked it or not, because there's no. Usually, I would feel like, oh, I haven't got that, but it didn't feel like that. But I wasn't sure that I could presume that I had it. So I called my agent, and I'm like, did I get this? I'm not sure. I called a friend, and I'm like, I think I just had an interview, and I think I just booked a job. I'm not really sure. It's very strange. And then my agent is like, we'll call and we'll find out. And he's like, likelihood is that it looks like it's great, and you could probably it might be you, but they're like thinking about things and they've got to have a conversation. And I go away and I call my manager and I say, look, Jason said to text him if I had any questions to ask about it. But the only thing I have in my head is that I really love this character and I want to play her. And that's it. I can't get her out of my mind. And I really want to be a part of this. And she said, well, you should text him that then.
Wow.
This is why my manager knows me very well, because that thing I would do. I would usually do it on my own, but I probably was just asking for permission. She was like, just text him. Also, can I just say that what is really fun is watching some of these comments and they're talking about The Outsider and how Andy died and how like some people are still annoyed about it. So I love that there's a conversation going on about The Outsider as we're talking about The Outsider. Hilarious.
I love it too. And also, Cynthia, we have 1 minute and 46 minutes remaining. So
I text him. I say to him, we want to do this particular role. And he says, well, great. I'll get the paperwork to you. That's what we need to do. And that is literally how I landed the role, because I texted him. I said, I cannot get this role out of my head and I love her. And that's what happened. From then on, I was like beyond belief happy. Yeah.
And I have to say, I love her glam, her hair and everything in the show. You collaborated on that.
Yeah.
I love the box braids. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, go and see it. But before I let you go, we have to talk about your glam.
Okay.
Always on point, your hair, your colors. What is the inspiration behind the colors, the eyes? You always have like this fancy thing going on with your eyes. You have beautiful eyes, but I love how you will play it up with the different shadows. Talk to us a little bit about your glam.
It's basically about accentuating everything I am. It's about not shying away from the fact that I am a Black woman. It's about showing the things that I grew up with, the color in hair, the nails, all of those things. Those are things that I've grown up looking at women with. Those are things I've grown up doing and loving. And I feel like they're like an indication of who I am as a Black woman. And I don't shy away from that. And I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by beautiful Black men, Terrell Mullen, Carell Moreno, and Jason Bolden, who make my dreams come true, and they're consistently being supportive of who I am and making just that louder, really. Yeah, that's it.
We love you, Cynthia. You guys go watch Outsider. When is Aretha coming? Do you have a date?
The fall. It's coming in the fall, and when I have a date, I will let everyone know, I promise.
We love you. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I appreciate you.
Lots of love. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Where is the buzz?
Oh, yeah. Where is the buzz? You said was mine.
Where is the buzz?
Ooh.